So let's finally start with the first car. And I personally think that this is the greatest one on this list. And it is the Audi A5. They made the first generation from I think 2007 and the second generation started about 2012. They both look extremely modern and for under 7k you can get great ones. But you can also get them for around 5k. They're gonna be a first gen car, but they still look awesome. You can get the A5 either as a coupe, as a cabriolet or as a 4-door coupe, which is called a Sportback. If you really need that extra space, go for the Sportback. But I personally think that the coupes look the best. Now let's talk about the engines. They all are actually very reliable, but the gasoline engines have sometimes problems with the timing chains, so they might get you some headache. You can get 4-cylinder engines, either running on gas or diesel. But if you think like me and say that 4 cylinders are boring, you should go for the 6-cylinder ones. The best one are the 2.7 TDI and the 3.0 TDI. They are V6 diesel engines and they are so incredibly reliable. They have between 200 or 240 horsepower, and when you look for cars with these engines you will see some examples with 300,000 kilometers that are still just running fine. But if you want a gasoline engine, they are named TFSI. According to Google, the 2.0 is the most reliable one, but it's a 4-cylinder, so you can also get the 3.2 TFSI, which is a V6, but it's less reliable than the diesel ones. Depending on the country you live in, repairs can get quite expensive if something breaks. In Germany, Audi is based here, so it's not that hard to get parts, but maybe if you live in America, it's gonna be a little more complicated. Another thing to mention is that these cars don't have B-pillars. They have frameless windows, so you need to be very careful if you want to drive it in a very cold country. The windows can freeze and then you are locked out of your car because they don't open anymore. Overall, the build quality on these cars is awesome, and they look so expensive because they have great styling, they don't usually break, so you can drive them very often, and depending on the engine you chose, you can have actually a lot of fun with them, and they are kind of affordable. And if you really feel the need to modify these cars, please don't touch the engines. Maybe get some nice wheels, get some new headlights or something, put a lip on the back end, but don't overtune your engines. You're gonna risk to break them. After talking forever about this car, let's get to number 2. And it is the Mercedes E-Class. I think that most of the people watching here that are not based in Germany or have ever lived there, you will be shocked to hear this. But you can get E-Classes for so cheap. In Germany, these cars are used as taxis. So Mercedes needs to make them very reliable, so they last hundreds of thousands of kilometers. You can literally find examples for 1 or 2,000 euros, then like some for 3, 4, 5, 7, whatever. And then it goes up to like 20, then maybe 50, 100. It's so crazy. So when you want to buy an E-Class, you have so many options. You can pretty much pick any generation for your budget. There are so many. Then you also can choose if you want a sedan, coupe or wagon. And there are so many different engines. You can get 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders or a big V8. But the V6s are gonna be the most reliable option. As an upper range Mercedes model, the E-Classes are super luxurious. And they are so comfortable. And in good condition they can look way more expensive than they actually are. Because Mercedes is a luxury brand, repairs are definitely going to be more expensive than for other cars. But you don't need to modify them because they are just daily drivers. And by the way, you can get both of the cars I mentioned so far with a manual transmission. So here we are now at car number 3, and it is basically the competition to the E-Class. It is the 5 Series from BMW. They are available as either a wagon or a sedan, and this car being a BMW, it is the more sporty but a little bit less luxurious alternative to the E-Class. My favorite generation is the E39. It is the one from the 2000s, but you can also get later generations like the F10, but the F10 only comes as an automatic. When talking about engine, they are pretty much the same as for the E-Class. You get diesel or gas, 4, 6 and 8 cylinders, but the 6 cylinders from BMW are the best ones because they have building inline 6s forever, and pretty much any German V8 is unreliable. And coming back to the E39, they just have this very cool VIP look to them. Just with black color, some nice wheels and the car being clean, they are just looking fantastic. You can also get them as a manual, but you need to be prepared for a little higher maintenance cost because those cars are older. After 3 reliable German cars, let's get to something a little bit more exciting. I am talking about the Subaru WRX, also called the Impreza, and this thing was basically a rally car. You can get them as a sedan or a wagon, and for easily less than 5k you get the flat 4 turbocharged engine, putting about 220 horsepower to all 4 wheels. They also come with a manual transmission, and as long as you don't modify them, they are actually reliable. I mean, of course I know the stereotypes that they are the worst vehicles ever built, but they are not really true. Those cars having their legendary rally and dirt racing status, you can just take them wherever you want. And I mean, those cars don't really have much space, they are not that comfortable, but they are great project cars that you can have a lot of fun with and still have enough space to haul your homies around. And when buying a WRX you have a lot of options between the different generations, because they all are quite cheap and they all are very similar in performance, fun factor and style. The next car I've got here on my list is like the cliche cheap tuner car, and it is the Infiniti G35. They were built from like 2003 to 2009 and they came either as the coupe or the sedan, but of course again the coupe is the better choice. I mean, they just look cooler, that's like the only reason. These cars have the same 3.5 liter gasoline V6 engine that is also found in the Nissan 350Z. It's called the VQ, you probably know it, it sounds like a fucking trumpet. And it has about 315 horsepower. Just like with the WRX, there is this cliche that those engines are unreliable, but the reason for that are the owners and the tuning. So the amount of tuning potential for these cars is infinite, but it is going to kill your reliability. The coolest thing about these cars is that they are based on the 350Z, but because Infiniti is the luxury brand from Nissan, the G35 has more comfort and luxury in it, just like with Lexus and Toyota. And I mean, the cars just look really good. So you can either use them as a beat up project car to have a lot of fun with, or you use them as a cool daily driver. But the problem might be at buying one of these cars. For example, in Germany there are so few of these that you can't get them for under 7k, but in America they go for like 4 grand or less, which is kind of annoying. And of course they come with a manual transmission too. Let's now get back to Audi again and talk about the Audi A4. This thing is basically like the daily driver middle class car from Audi, and I will get the B7 or B8 generation because they get to like 2012 and they totally fit into the budget. So you can get a very reliable and very modern car. And they start at about 3 to 4k, but you can definitely get some cleaner examples in the range of 5k. Just like a lot of these cars on this list, the A4 comes either as a sedan or the wagon option. And you can get them with manual transmissions. Because the Audi A5 is actually platform based on the A4, you can get a lot of similar engines, but with an A4 your better choice is probably a 4-cylinder. The most direct reason is that the 6-cylinders are more expensive. And the A4 is just a daily driver, it's not really special but it's still looking good. Also they have great interior quality and the whole car is built very well, so they are also a perfect car if you have a family or something and want to have a car for a longer time. After these 6 cars so far, I would like to present you some more, but I will not go into much detail with them. One of them is the Lexus IS300. It comes as a sedan or wagon with an optional manual transmission and a 2JZ engine. The next one is the Mercedes CLS, first generation. They are some very big and luxurious grand coupes, and I kind of like them. I don't think they come with a manual, but they are more of a boss car anyway. Then there's the Corvette C5, which is kind of an American exclusive because you can't get it for this money anywhere else in the world. I think they have LS V8s, so they are very reliable, they look awesome and they sound amazing and are super fast. It's kind of weird to only mention 9 cars instead of 10, but I still hope I could maybe inform you of something you didn't know so far and that you enjoyed the video. So if you realize any mistakes or something in this video, please just let me know in the comment section. I will try to do my best, I'm still just at the start of making this channel. So have a nice day and maybe I'll see you in another video.